I have gathered up all of the makeup items that I purchased in the month of January, and I'm going to share those with you today along with how much I spent on them in total. So let's get into it. All right, as always, before we start the video, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. I'm also in the process at this point of learning how to stick to a budget because, yet again, I have not done so. There, cat's out of the bag, here we are. I will say though that I did much better in January than I did in December. So I have gathered everything up. I've got it all here in this basket, and I will go through the items that I picked up in January with you and give you the running total. This isn't going to be a review of these items, so I'm not really going to give you a ton of feedback on the items, but look for that throughout the month of February as I showcase different items. Some of them I have already reviewed, so there are videos up on my channel already. And then what I'm going to do is at the end of February, I'm going to likely rank all of the items that I picked up in January, or at the very least give you more fleshed out thoughts on the products at that point. So look for that in future. So before we get into the individual items, I do want to give you the brief overview of what I spent in total, which was $427 Canadian. Bear in mind that amount is the total amount that I've paid. So that includes shipping fees, it includes the conversion between US to Canadian dollars, and any import fees that I've had to pay as well. So it's not just product purchase price. It is almost $200 less than I spent in December, but it's still not within that $300 budget that I set for myself. So there is definitely still room for improvement. Now I do want to say though, there were two main priorities when I entered into this beauty budget, if we will. One was to reduce the amount of items, like the number of items coming into my collection. I was getting overwhelmed. I had too many palettes showing up and I wasn't able to give time to them to actually do reviews and play with them and all of that kind of thing. So I wanted to slow down the influx of actual items into my collection. The second side of it was that I wanted to get to the point where my channel was just self-sustaining. So I was using just the AdSense income that I earned from my channel to fund the items that I then go ahead and review on my channel. And I will say that I did make close to $500 on AdSense in the month of January. So the fact that I spent over $400, I still haven't dipped into my own personal money and my own personal income for that. It has been funded fully by the channel. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff and take a look at what I actually picked up last month. So first up, I made two BH Cosmetics orders. The first one was for the Garnet palette. This was just on its own. The palette retails for $9, but I ended up spending a total of $21.70 Canadian because of the shipping amount and because of the conversion from US to Canadian dollars. So the shipping, I believe, was in the, I want to say $7 range. I think it was $7 US, but our dollar is like 75 cents on the dollar, something like that. So the conversion between US to Canadian is quite significant at this point. But at any rate, that was the first purchase that I made. And then the other order that I placed from BH was for these two palettes here. So we've got the Lost in LA and the Trendy in Tokyo. I have done a review on this palette here on my channel. This one I kind of snuck into my Amethyst review that I put up fairly recently. But at least I have had an opportunity to play with these. Not so much with this one here, the Trendy in Tokyo, if only because just seasonally, it's not something that I'm reaching for at this point, but come spring and summer, I think I'll be busting this one out a lot more. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, the total price for these two, including shipping, was $56 Canadian. Now, a palette that I have not yet had an opportunity to play with because it literally just arrived yesterday is this one here from Nomad Cosmetics. This is their Iceland palette. With the $10 shipping and with all the conversions and all of that, this cost me just about $58 Canadian. It has a beautiful color story in there. And while it does have colorful options, I feel like they're deep enough and grounded enough that they're fine for this time of year. I have tried Nomad in the past, and while the colors in the palettes that I've tried weren't really my jam, the formula was beautiful. So I suspect that this one is going to knock my socks off because the colors are gorgeous and I already know that I like the formula. So I'm really excited to play with this one. What I think I'm going to do, because it took so long to get to me, I don't think I'm going to rush to put up like a first impressions or anything like that. I think I'm going to film 3 different looks with it and then put that up as a video at some point, hopefully within the month of February. We may as well stick with palettes. So then the next one is this little guy here from Natasha Denona. This is the Mini Love. I have filmed a review, but I still need to edit it. This one with our HST here in Ontario cost me $37.30, and I got it from Sephora with no shipping fees. All right, you guys have heard me rave about Shoppers Drug Mart and their point system countless times on my channel, and they came in clutch for me again twice in the month of January. So in the first order, I picked up these 2 items here. So this is the Urban Decay Hydromaniac Foundation, and then this is a cream shadow from Lorac. This is one of their, it's diamond something, I don't know what it's actually called, but it's in the shade Cashmere. It's like a really pretty silvery kind of taupe shade. And when I placed that order, there were a few other things in there as well, but like things like hair dye and just stuff that I'm not worried about for the budget purposes. So what I did is I looked at what the tax was on these because I got these free with points. So the tax that I paid for these 2 items totaled just about $9. So not bad for 2 items here. And then I did place another order and I picked up the Lancome Lash Idole Mascara. And again, I used points, so I didn't pay anything towards the cost of this with the exception of the tax, which totaled $4.50. I placed an order through Sephora for some of the Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable items. So I picked up the cream blush and I did pick up a cream eyeshadow, but I did subsequently return that. So when I placed the order, I paid $48, but then I received $23.83 back when I returned the eyeshadow. So the total number that I gave at the top, the $427, that it takes into account that refund. So I paid $25 or whatever it was for this one here, and then I got the free sample for the glossy lip balm as well. When Lime Crime announced that they were coming out with liquid eyeliners, I was very excited because I did have one of their liquid eyeliners years and years ago. So I really wanted to try it out because I remember really liking the formula. It just got delivered yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to play around with it yet, but I hope it's fantastic because this liner in Canadian dollars cost me 27 bucks. So here's hoping that I like the formula. I really didn't place a lot of Sephora orders in January, which is kind of impressive because I'm usually addicted to that website. But I did place an order for this guy here. This is one of the new liquid lipsticks from Pat McGrath. It's what I'm wearing on my mouth today, and it is in the shade Divine Nude. So I haven't done a review on this yet because I'm still in the testing out phase, but first impressions, I wore it to work yesterday and obviously wearing it now. Very comfortable and incredibly long lasting. It even lasted through lunch yesterday. Granted, I wasn't eating anything particularly messy, but still didn't transfer off while I was drinking. It survived coffee, it survived a muffin, and it survived my lunch as well. So pretty impressed with this one straight out of the gate. All right, next up are some purchases from e.l.f. And this is where I get frustrated with myself because I went ahead and I purchased a few items from the Mint collection. So I ordered straight from the e.l.f. website for these. I picked up 2 of the palettes here. I picked up one of the lip glosses and then one of the cream eyeshadow sticks. So with shipping and conversion, the total cost was $24.30. And then I figured, well, if I'm going to be reviewing these, why don't I just do like a full face of e.l.f. and figure out what products I really like from their line, things like that. So I then went to, I believe it was Walmart I picked all this up at, but at any rate, I picked up some other items. So I got one of their primer infused blushes, a highlighter, and a bronzer as well. I picked up one of their lipsticks, the little brow gel, which FYI, huge fan of, really loving this. And I picked up their Flawless Satin Foundation. I have not filmed anything with any of these products. The cost of these additional items that I picked up was $37. So I'm out about $60 and I haven't filmed with any of these items yet. And frankly, the Mint stuff has been on the market so long now that I don't know if anybody cares. So if you care, let me know. I'm happy to film, but It's just one of those like things that has just been pushed off in terms of the priorities. There's been other videos that I've wanted to do, and frankly more fun videos to film than this. So it's kind of a pain in the ass in that sense, because I've spent $60, and frankly the only thing I've completely fallen in love with at this point is the brow job. I don't even, what the hell is this called? It's not called brow job. Wow Brow. That's it. Wow Brow. I think it was like $3 or $4, but $60, I haven't done anything with this stuff. So that's kind of annoying. All right, there was one purchase where I haven't received the items yet. So I did spend $61 at the Lip Bar. I picked up their concealer, their foundation, and I feel like something else, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I can't remember. It shipped ages ago and it's been stuck in customs forever. So hopefully that arrives soon. There are some other items at the Lip Bar that I do want to pick up, but the length of the shipping is making me a little nervous. I want to at least do a review on those items and get them up for you. I am a big fan of the Lip Bar. I'm really loving their lip products so far. I have tried little testers of the foundation and concealer and was very impressed, but that was just a one-time use. So I picked those items up because I really do want to test them out. I really like the brand and what I've tried from them so far. So hopefully it arrives soon so that I can then play with it and share my thoughts on those items with you. Speaking of foundation and concealer though, I did place this order here from The Ordinary. I picked up their coverage and their serum foundation so that I can compare the two and see which formula I prefer. And I also picked up their concealer, which, spoiler, I'm loving. Absolutely loving this concealer. I am wearing it today. A little goes a long way. I have been, over the last, I'd say week or two, putting it on one eye and putting one of my other concealers on the other and really kind of testing them out, but I haven't been smart enough to like take before and after pictures so that I can put those into a video. So hopefully my review is still helpful for you, even though it's an awful lot to remember, like taking all these pictures twice a day and all this kind of stuff. And half the time I come home from work and I just go straight out for a run and then I shower and wash my face. Like, anyways, it's a whole thing. I have no end of excuses. But at any rate, I do have a very good idea of what product this is very comparable to. So I plan on doing my review very soon on these items. The total for these, FYI, was $22, and I did get free shipping because if you order $25 or more through the Canadian website, you get free shipping. I did order a skincare item, but I'm not counting skincare in my beauty budget because it's not a category that I overspend on. I really don't buy a lot of skincare items, so I don't feel like I really need to rein in that regard. So those are all of the items that I picked up in January. And in looking at the items here, I really don't have much in the way of regret, with the exception of the e.l.f. stuff. I didn't spend a ton of money on it, but I think I set myself up for failure by buying so many products from the line, knowing that doing full face of a certain brand is really not something that I do a lot of on my channel. In fact, I can't remember the last time I really did do something like that. I will buy a few things from a collection and just use that brand, but like going out and buying the foundation and the brow stuff and a lip and a blush and a bronzer and a highlighter, I think it was overkill. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think I needed to do it, and then I think I just got myself overwhelmed. If I had just stuck with the mint stuff, I think it would have been a much more approachable way for me to deal with it. So that's just a lesson learned for me, and that is part of what this is all about. I'm not your typical normal consumer. I'm not just a makeup lover. I am a beauty review channel. And so I'm trying to find that balance, and I'm really trying in this exercise of looking at what have I purchased, where have I spent my money, and how have I used those products. I'm really trying to learn about how to balance those things. So now I know going forward, don't buy so much shit to review because you're not going to do it. It's just going to overwhelm me. That's just the nature of my personality. I do get overwhelmed by things if there's a lot of them. You should see me every now and then, first thing in the morning, looking at my inbox at work. I'm like, oh God, there's 100 emails. How am I ever going to get through you? And that is what has happened with the e.l.f. stuff in particular. Now, in looking at the palettes that I picked up, I really don't have any regrets. So I just quickly want to walk through. So the Garnet one, I didn't do a dedicated review on. Again, it was just one of those palettes that it just kept getting pushed down the priority list. And so I did include it when I did my Amethyst review. And I don't feel upset about that. I really don't. It was a $9 palette. It's not the end of the world. Don't have any regrets in that regard. And frankly, this is something that I can envision myself buying each month as they are released. And then who knows, at the end of the year, maybe I'll rank them all if anybody cares. I don't know. I will decide that in December. But for right now, I am liking reviewing these little guys because they are so accessible to people. It's a $9 palette, so I think that it has a place on my channel. Same with, frankly, the larger BH palettes. First of all, I love the BH formula. I am a huge fan of these palettes. Candidly though, I will say that my review of this palette has done really well on my channel, and so it is generating AdSense, which does help to defray the cost of what I paid towards it. So I don't really have any regrets in that sense either, and I do think that these are palettes that I'm going to get more use out of in a couple of months' time. These two I have no regrets about whatsoever. This one in particular is a brand that I really do want to try. Like I said, I have dabbled with a couple of their little quads before, but I'm really excited to sink my teeth into this palette and really see how it performs, and then I can decide from there whether this is a brand that I do want to purchase from again going forward. I suspect that I'm going to want to. Frankly, I really like the brand and how supportive they are of smaller channels. I purchased this myself. I did not receive this in PR, but I know that other channels who are significantly smaller than mine have received it in PR. And I love that. I think that's fantastic, and I really hope that more brands will follow suit with that kind of thing. And then of course, the Natasha Denona Mini Love. There was no way I was not going to buy this. The color story is right up my alley. These kind of tones I gravitate towards. I think they're just so beautiful. I think they're very flattering on my eye color, and I love the formulation of these palettes in particular, so no regrets there. I'm not going to go through every single individual item to say whether or not I have regrets. We will talk about that at the end of February when I do like a monthly roundup kind of deal. But for right now, I'm pleased with the progress. I'm pleased that I was able to keep it contained a bit. I know I went over, but what I think I might do is do a video on the makeup that I have talked myself out of. Because let me tell you, if I did not have this idea of a budget looming over me, I would have spent significantly more, and I know that definitively. So having this series going on my channel is helping me to remain accountable, even though I'm also remaining transparent. I'm not 100% perfect, that is for absolute sure, and this is a learning process for me. It really is, and I think the value in overspending on my budget is learning where it is that I'm overspending and learning what it is that, you know, when I'm adding things to my cart and I'm thinking about, is this for my channel or is it for me or is it both? That really helps me decide critically what it is that I actually want to quote unquote invest in. I say that word with tongue firmly in cheek. I know it's not necessarily an investment in the way that it's defined, but at any rate, you get, I hope, what I'm trying to say. Okay, we have reached the rambling stage of this video, so I am going to wrap it up here. Before I say goodbye though, first of all, I want to say thank you, especially for the support that I received on my December haul video, because I blew the budget way the hell out of the water on that video. I think I was at $600 and something, and not one of you told me what a loser I was for blowing my budget. So thank you so much for that and for understanding that I'm just a person going through the process of learning how to control my makeup spending. I have spent years just buying whatever the hell I want. And while I can continue to do that, it's not what I want to do. I want to be more critical and I want to purchase things with a more mindful attitude of what it is that I'm bringing into my collection and what it is that I'm sharing with you guys as well. So there we have it. That's what I want to say to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.